Ladies and gentlemen, it is the one, the only, Solon's number one entertainer, Petty Murphy, here reporting to you live from the back of the classroom at Foundational Black America's number one source for edutainment, Akatanewsnetwork. Hold on a minute. What the hell? Production. Ladies and gentlemen out home, if you're there, please bear with us. It seems like someone's pirating or tethering on the line here at the News Network. Yes, it appears someone's gotten a hold and is actually pirating our live feed right now as I speak, and is actually currently tethering on the line. But our production team now is on the job trying to secure it. Please bear with us. Oh, thank you. Pardon the interruption, ladies and gentlemen. It is again your man about town, Solon's number one edutainer, Petty Murphy, reporting to you live from the back of the classroom at Foundational Black America's number one source for edutainment, Akatanewsnetwork. Today, we're going to be getting out to the field with the one, the only, Nap Solo, as he provides us with a little breakdown of how things go when it's fraud from white foreign nationals as opposed to foundational Black Americans. And with that, we say, breaking news. It's cracking. You already know what it is. It ain't nothing new under the sun. So you know we got a list of videos to go through, and then we're going to spin the bar. I can rap about it. But before we do, I want to show one thing to you, and that's what happens when birthright foundational Black Americans defraud the federal government. We're going to watch. Uno momento.
Kwame Kilpatrick, Detroit's hip-hop mayor, was elected in 2001 at age 31, a charismatic figure seen as a rising political star. His flashy lifestyle, secret affair, and massive corruption scandal turned him into a symbol of betrayal. Text messages exposed in 2008 revealed lies, an affair with his chief of staff, and a cover-up costing the city millions. He resigned in 2008 after pleading guilty to obstruction of justice, serving 120 days in jail. In 2013, he was sentenced to 28 years for racketeering and fraud, costing taxpayers an estimated $20 million. His sentence was commuted in 2021 by President Trump after 7 years. Kilpatrick's story is a wild rise and fall from young hope to a cautionary tale of greed and abuse of power.
So, what you just witnessed is what the progressive liberal left does to their own natural-born citizens with lineage to this land for hundreds and hundreds. I'm talking about those that were freed under the 13th Amendment and the protector of the 14th, right? That's what the liberal left does with its own. Now we're going to see what they do when they create the loopholes in the legislation to allow the people that they tricked us into fighting for. We're going to find out what happens to them when they steal from the federal government, or should I say, you and I, we the people.
There is not a single evidence that the president or his cronies have put forth that there are any single resource from taxpayers in Minnesota that has gone to aid and abet terrorism. That language is dangerous. That language puts the lives of Somalis not only in Minnesota, but across the country in danger.
If money from U.S. tax dollars is being sent to help with terrorism in Somalia, we want to know.
Yeah.
And we want those people prosecuted. And we want to make sure that that doesn't ever happen again.
You're not going to believe this. This little restaurant Does this spot look familiar?
here on Nicollet Avenue in front of Quality Learning Center. There was a misspelling in the word learning. It was missing the N, and that has since been updated. As you can see, they got a new sign.
So the guy that did the Chrome Hearts interview, the guy that did the interview, the Somali guy, was so believable at first until people realized that, hey, what kind of glasses is he wearing? And they just happened to look them up. Somebody recognized the glasses he was wearing, and lo and behold, they were Chrome Heart glasses. They look like Chrome Heart glasses, and those are around $2,300. And the hat is, that's an expensive hat. You could tell by the stitching. That's not something you just go walk into any cap store. That's a hat that you sent to be made. Personally, that has over $100 easily. So people are saying, obviously, like, how'd you get the Chrome Heart glasses? Because I have some glasses and they're not Chrome Heart because Chrome Heart is too expensive. Also, Chrome Hearts, you have to be like on a special list to be able to get those. You can't just get those. You have already had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars just to be even asked to come back and get these glasses. You got to spend 30, 40, 50 before you can even buy these.
Where what had happened was somebody played a really seriously disgusting joke on us and broke into our facility. They stole our employees' paperwork, all of the children's enrollment paperwork. Those sons of bitches even went as far to steal our checks out of our checkbook, making us unoperational to proceed with cash operations. And the kids, it's a crime against hamburgers. It's a crime against American cheese, children, hamburgers, and it's very uncouth.
You ever notice how the truth never leaks politely? It almost always explodes. Because once sunlight hits a scam, the panic always tells on itself. Trump just dropped nightmare news, and suddenly a story they swore was misinformation is collapsing in real time. Y'all check this out.
Yesterday morning, I was called by the owner because unfortunately someone came in to our daycare. We looked and saw what happened, and we saw that the suspect came in from the back, broke in from the back kitchen, and he also destroyed the wall to come in. As we walked around the daycare, we saw that our office doors was broken into as well. Unfortunately, we saw that there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also employee documentation that was gone. There were also checkbooks that were ripped from our check papers that were ripped from our book. This is devastating news, and we don't know why this is targeting our Somali community, as one video made by a specific individual made this all happen. We've been receiving hateful messages through our voice notes threatening us since the past couple of days, including one that happened yesterday morning after the break-in. This is frightening and exhausting because this is happening to us Somali communities as Somali Americans. We are supposed to stand with each other and help each other through everything that's happening. This is also sad that a video can cause all of this. I want to say that there are hundreds of daycares out there, Somali daycares that are out there, and we all help our children and everyone in our community. We have high quality daycares, and this is very sad news that one individual who made a false claim about fraud that is happening in the daycares engaged everyone else to come and do this to us.
Now, listen carefully, because this is where it all starts to fall apart. We're told all the important documents were stolen: enrollment records, employee files, checkbooks. It's interesting because when there's fraud, paperwork has a funny habit of disappearing right before investigators knock. Yeah, and notice this. Trump calls it total fraud. Let's read what he wrote. A total fraud. Minnesota Somali-run daycare bizarrely reports all their important documents about child care were stolen.
Hello, I'm looking for childcare. Daycare? Is this a Tawakal daycare?
Are you videotaping?
What's that?
Are you videotaping?
I am. Yeah, I'm just looking to get an application for childcare.
Can you send an email?
Yeah, I just want to make sure this is Tawakal House.
Yes.
Though? Okay, just wanted to make sure. What's the email address? Hello, I'm looking for some home childcare information. Do you have any information about childcare?
No.
This isn't a childcare facility?
Yes.
It is. Okay, can I get an application?
No.
I can't? So you don't allow it to low-income people?
No, I'm not thinking about low-income already.
Okay, how come I can't receive childcare here? Okay. Are you familiar with any child care facilities? You know, like daycare? Are you familiar with any daycare facilities in the area?
No.
There's no child care here?
Why? What you looking for?
Looking to enroll a kid.
Oh.
Is there one up there?
You know, if you go across the street, like if you take a right,
okay,
on your right hand side, you may see one.
All right, man. Thanks. You have a good day. Public area. Okay.
But you knocking the doors.
No. Absolutely. Well, of course I'm knocking on the doors. Of course I'm knocking on the doors.
What's going on, dude?
What's that?
What's going on, Dick? My name's Nick. Just let you know my camera's recording.
I am working on a story about childcare facilities in the Seattle Housing Authority's grounds.
Okay.
So I just actually confirmed that 11 or possibly 10 of these facilities don't have any kids at them. So I'm working.
Okay.
I'm sure you've probably seen the Nick Shirley story on.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm working on. So I'm a journalist in the greater Seattle-Tacoma area.
Okay.
And I just work on government accountability stories. So I'm here working on that. And I've confirmed that there's several facilities here, especially after talking to a couple of neighbors, that there are no kids around. The only one I've proven is Ilhan Daycare.
Okay.
Which seems to be above board.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's about it, man.
Okay. Just
good for you guys as citizens to know as well.
Yeah, I have no issue with that. Just so we can get over the overt part. Why would we be getting calls about you, if you could guess?
Well, because I'm walking around with a camera going to the child care facilities that are listed on the Department of Children and Youth Families websites with licenses that are listing themselves as open 24/7, 365. And when you go to them, with the exception of Ilhan Daycare, nothing.
Okay.
So
anything
I noticed once Ice came out, I ain't hear no booyahs. I ain't seen a Jamaican Jamaican shut it down. I used to hear I ain't heard none of that shit. Ever since Trump signed them papers, they're like, no booyah right now. It's not time. It's not a good time to booyah. Put a hold on the booyah, cuz man. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I ain't gonna even be mad, man. I like this moment because it's humbling everybody. Getting humble. I talk shit because I'm regular black. That's right. You can't take me nowhere but back to Brooklyn. Or Queens, either one. Can't do shit to me. It's good to be regular black now. Niggas like, where you from? Here, nigga. Remember they always used to try to make you feel like shit because you ain't know where you was from. You're like, where you from? Right here. No, where I'm from. Where your family from, yo. From here, nigga.
This Somalia rabbit hole runs deep. Say hello to the ambassador of Somalia for the United Nations, Abukar Dahir Osman, let alone that he leads the Somalia's mission as of January 2026. Today, his country holds the rotating presidency of the United Nations Security Council. But guess where he used to live and he used to work? Cincinnati, Ohio. Oh, it gets better. He worked for many years in Cincinnati, Ohio in roles related to social services, including a supervisor at Adult Medicaid Unit of the Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services, and as a social programming specialist and case manager. And he also founded and consulted for Beacon Educational Services and worked with the International Academy of Columbus. But here's the tip of the iceberg. Public filings from the Ohio Secretary of State show that Mr. Osman was listed as the statutory agent for Progressive Healthcare Services Incorporated in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is a Cincinnati-based home healthcare company, after he was appointed to be Somalia's UN ambassador in 2017. And records are also listing him as managing director of the company between 2014 and 2019. I just find it so crazy that a lot of these influential people that are rising up in their roles have origins in a lot of the areas that now justice is being served in. Trust me, when you go down this rabbit hole, you better strap in.
The Asset Recovery Agency will be engaged from the point of seizure, and all assets used or acquired through these activities, including cash, vehicles, land, buildings, and businesses, will be treated as proceeds of crime, promptly frozen, prosecuted, forfeited to the state, and redirected.
Childcare is cut. I'm unable to work or go to school. I understand. Fraud is bad.
I'm sure what happened there at the end, that she thought that was not supposed to be in there, but fraud is bad, and it's a bad issue publicly for the Democrats in Minnesota.
Because unfortunately someone came in to our daycare. We looked and saw what happened, and we saw that the suspect came in from the back, broke in from the back kitchen.
I'm currently asking for a ceasefire. I'm asking for a ceasefire between the Somalis and the African Americans. Please, we got something bigger going on right now.
That money in Minnesota that they scammed, you know where it went to? They brought up city blocks in Eastleigh, Nairobi, Kenya. Check this out.
Somali people, you must tell us where you're getting this money. And I can tell you, every street in Eastleigh right now has more than 10 buildings under construction. You will see these buildings covered with nets and under construction and not yet complete, or at least recently completed. Every street. And remember, Eastleigh has 12 streets. First street, second street, all the way to 12. And every street has like 10 high-rise apartments under construction or recently finished construction. Somali people have money. These people have money. I don't know what they do, how they do it. I think they're trying to make Eastleigh a city of its own in Nairobi, man.
He said buildings, like blocks of high-rise buildings being constructed. And that video is from 2023. Oh, where did all the money come from? Well, that money came from Minnesota, buddy. That's where all the money went, to buy up city blocks of high-rise apartments and business complexes. You see, they making that into a little Somalia right there in Kenya. That's where majority of the money went.
My name is Deco Noor. I'm a parent who receives federal funding for childcare for my kiddo. Over 20,000 kids will lose access to childcare programs. And that, that 20,000, thousands of children rely on childcare, and thousands of parents rely on childcare. Therefore, if childcare will, oh my God.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
I'm currently a medical student. I rely on childcare. I work. If childcare is cut, I'm unable to work or go to school. I understand fraud is bad. I understand fraud is bad.
Fraud is bad.
Gotcha, bitch!
I plead the fifth. No, but I can tell you that I plead the fiftieth.
And there you have it, folks. It ain't really too much to say. I ain't even got to really get too deep into it. We all know what it is. It's almost like this whole debacle has been the gift that keeps on giving. But I'll tell you what, if there's one thing that I did pay attention to when I was sitting in class, Sigmund Freud was one bright motherfucker, boy. Because that Freudian slip gets him every time. Yeah, because fraud is bad. They got to take care of my kids and we keep stealing. And does anyone else find it ironic that cat burglars are now breaking into learning centers and daycare centers and they just happen to be stealing, I don't know, center records, sign-in sheets for the children that are supposed to be there at the daycare learning center that they're getting funding from the federal government, you and I'll tell you what you do. When y'all get a chance, hop on the interwebs, right? Hop on the OL Googleizer and find out how many Somali nationals have been buying up property in Kenya. And find out what the Kenyan president now has decided to do with the Somali nationals that all of a sudden have all this extra disposable money to spend in their nation, because it's probably going to bring some heat. But you ask yourself this. The amount of money now that has been found to be fraudulent is in the billions. And before I actually close this out and send it back to the studio, I'm going to play a short clip from what a gentleman said all the way back in 2018 about this. They've been known about this. The whistle was blew in 2018, and guess what? It fell on deaf ears. So much so that the individual that blew the whistle gave up and said, fuck it, I quit. I'm not going to sit back and watch while the Democrats allow the Somalians to rob the American people, because he outright said, yo, this is way bigger than just Minnesota, because they're taking the money from the federal, not just in Minnesota, but the federal funds. That means everything that everybody's putting into, every terrorist attack, any investment. You have to remember something, right? The country's GDP, you know what? You can do your own due diligence, because I know a lot of people like to always say, no, you're wrong. And what I realized, when people tell you you're wrong, that means they've already made their mind up, and they're not going to listen to anything you have to say anyways. So this year, I'm taking on the mindset that from here on out, when I hear I'm wrong, I'm just going to shut the fuck up. But I'll continue to do this and lace it with receipts so that you too can find your way down the rabbit hole just as I did. But like I said before, and I'll say it again, if we want to get out of this shit, we voted our way into this, and now we're going to have to vote our way out of it. And instead of voting for the AOCs and the Byron Donaldsons, the same tethers who refuse to vote for reparations when our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents made sure that they had a free ride over here. When we already knew, I showed you in the last video in 1957, they already knew how they felt before they got here. They were never here to be allies, because under color of law, they are white citizens. But yeah, it is what it is. So on that note, as I always say, remember, realize, and transparency forces accountability. Y'all keep your eyes to the stars, keep that head on a swivel, and remember, It's a dirty game.
When we did the Lillian Richardson case, that was in the news. She was on probation in Arkansas for a felony Medicaid fraud conviction. And she was running 50 different shell companies. By shell company, I mean a fraudulent, non-existent company up here in Minnesota using her family members to extort, to use fraudulent means to extract money from the DHS Medicaid program. And that's in the newspaper. You can look at that. When we stopped counting the loss, it was 18 million. I know it was higher than that. A week after she was released from jail, I was told she was up and running again and started the same businesses and was collecting money from DHS because the controls, the checks and balances prevented them from shutting her down again. Barb Curran, look in the news. She's in Shakopee prison. She ran a $5 million organized crime ring from her prison cell using a state computer. I asked the state agency if I could have that computer so I could track the money, and they would not give me that computer. There was a way to find that money to get that $5 million back, but we never got that money back because we don't know where it went. Was it possible to find out? Absolutely, but I was prevented. Barb Curran is in the newspaper, and you can check that out. There's some other programs at DHS as well that I know of where they teach people to train immigrants, where they teach them how to find a job. And most of those, the one recently that was in Hennepin County Court for a trial just a few months ago, he used the money to have a harem of females. He had 12 females, and that's how his lifestyle was. That's how he used the money he received for that program. Not all of it, but a good substantial part of it. The internal controls on these programs really need to be examined. I think, and I really appreciate you having me here today to talk about this, because I think, seriously, I do think that there's a national security implication. I think there are lives at stake. And if I could just take a story, every time there was a terrorist attack, Paris, San Bernardino, France, Paris, even the Syrian war, we would, as investigators, we would get together the day after the attack, and we would ponder amongst ourselves, how much Minnesota taxpayer dollars was being used to fund that war, that attack? What bought that gun? Where'd that money come from? Someone should be tracking that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the studio at the end of that great expose. You know what they say, if you can't tie it down, they're gonna take it. You know, the one thing that I do find odd about this whole thing is that a lot of them say that they're being attacked because they're Islamic believers, or as they say, because I'm Muslim. But I could have swore Allah said that all of these things were haram. Yet here we are. They're crying and making excuses about why they can't bet 9-year-olds anymore for the world to see. You think I'm lying? Have a gander. Oh, you don't say, sir. One of the imams here, you see, crying over his loss of access to the PPP, prepubescent privates. But yes, anyways, diabolical. I don't even know where else to go after this. But again, where was I? Being as petty as can be. God damn it, I don't know what to say. But at this point, ship them the fuck out. And on that note, stay black and stay proud.